I'm going to start asking from the men here. Inspire Men's Initiative. And I will start with, I'm going to start with Coach Tim. I'm going to start with Coach Tim because for those of you who don't know, a couple of us here, we had these things going on in our minds. After going through a lot of experiences as men, we never liked where we are. We wanted to do better. We wanted to get better. But then, moving from where you are to where you want to be is a different thing. And sometimes, as one person said, that the difference between where you are and where you want to be is that one person you haven't met. And for us, we are looking out for that person who could hold our hands, hold us accountable, pull us to where we want to be. We're all men at a certain level looking to be at a higher level. And we're talking about this in the corridors. We want to meet as men. We want to do something. And lo and behold, God sent Coach Tim. And while we talked to him, he was like, oh, that's a wonderful idea. Can we get it started? What does it take? And I want to tell you, we have done a lot of stuff, and Coach Tim has put everything behind us to ensure that we are from where we were to where we are now. And so I want to pose a question to you, Coach Tim. What is the drive? For you, what is it about this? Because, I mean, I don't know, but not very many men out there of your nature and stature would be willing to lay their resources and their time into young men who have not, with all due respect, accomplished as much as you have. And as you said in one of our meetings, that some of you have really built a name to an extent that you can't afford to lose it. So what is it for you that caused you to take a risk on us, to get behind us and see this coming?
I believe the highest form of significance for a human being is being able to live for another human being. If you can be able to impact another human being, it means you've put your selfish needs or your personal needs aside to bless another. In this, I'm helping me by doing what I'm doing. When I don't do this, I'm less. When I do this, I feel the highest form of significance that you can ever have is when you can live for another. A man for another man. Being able to live for another human being. But then number two, that I usually tell them, I have a daughter called Ariella. I don't want my daughter to meet any man. So I'm sowing the right seed. And you can do the same. Sow the right seed by doing the right thing. And tell you what, in due season, you will reap. I was raised in a family of 7, 5 girls, and we are the last 2 boys. And I've seen my sisters suffer at the hands of irresponsible men. All the 5. There is none that actually has a testimony that is firm to say, I have enjoyed marriage or family. All their words were, those were the words I grew up hearing. Every time they would have a conversation, because I was young but I could eavesdrop on the conversations, they had nothing nice to say about a man. So I grew up thinking, am I a man? I said, okay, well, I think I am biologically. But then, what do I have to do to be more than what my sisters believe about men? Why? Because it was one complaint after another complaint, and another and another and another. I hated it. I said I should do different. So you asked me my inspiration. I have a daughter. I believe one day she will meet the right man. And I am sowing the seed right now. I am sowing the seed right now for her. And I know God will not disappoint me.
Wow. So basically sowing the seed.
Yeah.
You're not doing this for you.
Mm-mm.
Amazing. Ariella, wherever you are,
you're blessed.
You're blessed. Over to you, Haruna, Moshe, Coach Tycoon, commonly called. You like his name? money. Okay. Haruna, Inspire Men's Initiative. For you, you're one of the people who, when this was introduced, you were quick to jump on board. And I don't know, I cannot speak for you right now, but I want to, what inspired you as an individual? What did you see in this? What was the bigger picture for you to jump on board that easily?
Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor Eric. Personally, the reason why I jumped on the Inspire Men initiative is simply because I want to inspire the young generation. We build foundations, you get. Because some of us, we are facing so many challenges in our marriages. Like personally, I'm okay with my wife because we've come from very far. Some of you have heard my story. So I want to build foundations for these young men, to help them, to show them that making money is easy, but then maintaining it is another what? Another thing. So I want to help them, to show them that you can have a good family, at the same time you can have what? You can have money. So Inspire Men, I want to inspire the young generations to show them that you can live better, you get. Because the men, we don't have where to go. Like the ladies, they can go to Bahati, they can go to so many sengas in the town. But as the men, we don't have anywhere we can go, you get. So as the Inspire Men, yes.
Wow. All right. Inspiring the young generation. Okay. Oscar.
Yes, Eric.
A man with a legal background. Legally.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Oscar Mugabe. So for me, my motivation is I was certified by Coach Hilda, and I struggled getting my niche. What do I want to talk about? Until I came in this space and met this gentleman, I said, this is a place for me. I want to talk about personal growth for men. Why? Because I'm a man. 2, because not only am I doing it for other men, but I'm doing it for myself. So, as they say, the teacher learns more, right? So, for me, that's the main basis. Then, the issue of unrestricted. We need to tell these men, first, why they're restricted, so that we can help them unrestrict themselves. For example, issues like what we call a blueprint. Abazimbi, coach, you know, there's a blueprint where before you set up the building, there's that drawing, the blueprint. So all of us have to check in our blueprint. That's where the unrestriction is. That's where all our challenges. If I grew up and much money was mutwalo gumu, that is my blueprint. So when a client asks me to do something, I'll say, mpayo chokolachi, chosobola. You see? So we need to go back to our blueprints. Tear them apart, build the blueprint, and we'll be unrestricted.
Wow. Derek, I'm asking you a different question. Right there, unrestricted. You and I, recently we had a conversation with one of the men who speaks to us, Director Grace, and he brought an analogy of feminized men. For those who are in the group, feminized men are men who have been influenced because they've been grown up by single mothers. And that is a big percentage. I can tell you that is a big percentage. And from his discussion, Director Grace meant to say that there are certain things we do or that restrict us simply because we were grown in such backgrounds. And you and I have experienced that. Now, Derek, to you, how does Inspire Men help you get unrestricted from such influences? I would call background influences. How does Inspire Men's initiative play a role in that?
Thanks so much. Excuse me, I'll get a little nervous on this one. I can't put emotions or feelings to it, but 1997, 20th December, my grandfather tells me, they were listening to, I think they used to make announcements on UBC. Is it Uganda Radio? Yes, the Radio Uganda. So they were in Kabarole at the time before it was split. They listened on the radio. They state names, then there is Kusemera William has died in Mulago Hospital. So at the time, 1997, I was 3 years old, so as in, my mom tells me I went to the casket. I was like, Dad, get out. We need to have a conversation because he was a chiller guy. So that's what my aunties tell me and my mom. So all this time, it was cool being a son to a wonderful mother. Set the record straight. My mom's a police officer, so I grew up in Sana Police Barracks. If any of you passes via Chivuli, that's where we grew up. For all my life up until I think 2021 when I left. So my journey to this begins in 2020. I don't know how I landed on that. We used to call them round tables. That's how we began. So in those round tables, I think we're about 3-4 men on those things. I think one person, the name I remember is Mpaji. I don't know where he is. Tony Mpaji. He was one of the guys we were with. So over time, started thinking in that women are very intentional about this thing of getting better. For us men, we think we are stars, eh? Deep down, it's a different story. You'd be shocked. I've not seen lately that there is a woman who has gone to Mavidizi and decided to take a nozzle dive as if it's a swimming pool. Eh? I've not heard, but at least I've heard of a man. I've not heard of a woman going to, with no disrespect, by the way, to certain individuals who are taking their lives out in public places. It's us men who are doing it. That means there is something fundamentally wrong happening to us, and we are not coming to terms with it. So there is an inner man that is actually dying. He's very frustrated. So for me, I joined this, I remember vividly now what this is to me. On my graduation day at Kingdom Kampala, we get done. I think in the photo, I remember, I think only 2 guys. I forget his name. James, yes. So I think only 2 guys in the photo. I remember at the exit, I told Tim, it's interesting. We looked behind. You see, for lack of better word, no offense again, ladies were taking selfies, and it was all glamorous. Eh? But for us, we stood this other side with our Uncle Tim. We're just waiting for the cameras and all those things. So it was there that he said, but Derek, I think it's about time we did something for the men. Fast forward, things just 2021. Now I come back and I hear. It was just a hearing at Tobani Center. I was told Tim is setting up men for this thing. I told myself, as for me and my unborn children, I'm not going to raise children who do not know what being a father is unless life cuts me short. But as long as I'm alive, I want to be the best father to my children. I want to be the best husband to my wife and to the gentlemen around me. So every time I go to the police barracks, because I often go just to roll in, I find boys I grew up with, I used to play football with, they have vices that are unspeakable. They have characters that are untold of. Recently, one of them, I invited him when we went to Uncle Sam, that said he had a vice. So when I look at some of those individuals, for me, that's where my inspiration comes from. I ask myself, what's so different? Same police child in Sikoi, but I've not smoked, I've not taken alcohol, I've not picked up vices. Where is the difference? So my reason for being here is basically, if there is any other man who has a background like mine and feels it's very hard and impossible, I want to be the story. If I can only be seen as the story, that's all I'll benefit from.
Thank you, Derek. A man living for other men. That is a good inspiration. I think each of us, the men who are here, I think you should take time and ask yourself, who is my life speaking to? If my life is a story somebody is going to read, will they drive motivation out of it? And before I forget, after I hear men, we have a selfie moment. Because, since ladies took the other time, all cameras will be in the corner for men, yes.
Seriously, after this, men, we're going to take a picture. This is amazing. You know, we've outnumbered the ladies today.
Yes. It looks like.
We made history, guys.
And it is just the beginning.
Do you know what it means to bring 100 men in the same room? Gwe, it's a tough one. It's a tough job. Ish.
Indeed it is.
Yes.
Coach Tim, before I forget, from your perspective now as an elder, in what areas are men really restricted? Like when you look in our generation, I mean, you have interacted with us. Recently we heard you say you have kept friends for 28 years and we're like, what? 28 years?
Yes.
Some of those things we don't, I mean, our Facebook friends, I don't know how many years we unfollow as soon as you don't like my comment. So in what ways are men of our generation really restricted?
I think this comes from way back. For example, I saw a TV at home when I was a man. So I was told to go and play outside. I did not have access to a phone. So I created friends, made meaningful relationships with the neighborhood. Number one, we did not have money to build a boundary wall. So you could walk into a neighbor's house and out, and even eat there and come out. So all that speaks about creativity. That I engaged my mind, or we engaged then our mind, more than your digital era of the phone. And that created something in us from that generation that you guys don't have. It's called the process. I thank God for the preacher. That we endured the process. I remember, and I can tell you, because I see this at home, when my son falls, he blames the chair, he blames everyone for falling. Back then when you would fall, you would keep quiet because they would beat you for falling. You had to take responsibility. And that is the process. You were told, so it was in you to know that if you keep it to yourself. But that created resilience in us. It created resilience in us, and it made us who we are. So, number one, this generation wants things that are fast, and that is restricting you from growing. By growing, I mean building muscle. Building muscle means patience. I think I like what the preacher said. She said everything. The muscle that you build in the process makes you. The muscle that you build in the process is the foundation that keeps you up there. This generation detests anything that is slow. They want everything so fast. So fast. Everything is fast food. Anything that delays, even if it's a relationship. Even if it's a relationship. Do you know the patience? You ask Uncle Sam, he will tell you. How many years? 30 years. Some of you cannot last 1 year. Okay, 6 months in a relationship, you have tolerated a lot. Otherwise, when they blue tick your messages without a response, you're like, oh no, yes, it was, I think, can ghost me, kale. Not knowing guy bamukute, bamusude kabangali ya police bamutwala musiba. Someone else. So there's no patience. There's no room for tolerance. And that is restricting this generation from being organic. My wife once said that the last organic generation, even the foods, is almost gone, including the food we eat. Organic with the food and personality and everything is gone. Everything is something that is tekitegerekeka kiri awo. Now let me tell you something. The restriction that you have as a generation goes back to one thing: how your subconscious has been built. It's only been empowered by everything that does not last. It's only been built by everything that easily corrupts, that easily dies, that easily fades away, is what your subconscious is made of. While that generation, our subconscious was made up of everything that keeps us intact. That's why I can keep a friend for 28, 30 years. It's not easy to keep one. There are lots and lots of challenges that we go through. But we fight, hug, and kiss. And life keeps going.
But Coach Tim.
Before I finish, I know where you're going. This one here, once first things. This one is typical of that generation, by the way. With him, last time, Pastor Sevina told him that even the chicken that they eat is of 2 weeks. Did you say 2 weeks or 3 days? Quick. But you can ask your question.
No, when you talk about us wanting things that are fast, I ask myself now, is it not just a thing that we have been dealt with, a hand we have been dealt with? I mean, we never chose to come in this generation. And then they tell us that, don't be slow. And said, ku speed ya yiri. Kakati, fate mutugamba, mutambula nyo. Atenga mwaba tugamba, don't be slow. So, where are we now? Tukole tutya.
Anti, ekiriwo kyekino mudduka emisinde naye nga temulina gye mulaga. Mudduka speed nnyo naye ne mwetoolera mu kifo kimu. Waliwo akola ennyo naye nga tulaba kyakola. So that is you. Like, you take off so very fast to nowhere, and then you return so very fast and come back to where you were. So we are like, please, slow down. Can you take 2 steps, 3 steps, and audit them? Can you audit those 3 steps? Because it's better than you running so fast and then coming back so fast. You climb so high and then you fall, break your legs. So we think by telling you to copy from us, we are saving you from pain. The pain here is there is no value in taking off so very fast to nowhere. But there is a lot of value in you auditing your 5 steps and seeing results for your 5 steps. In other words, whether you like it or not, there must be organic growth introduced in this generation, which is digital. In this generation, which you call a fast-paced moving generation. There must be organic growth. There must be organic attached to it for it to be able to be sustainable. Otherwise, it's a lie.
Yes, Oscar, you want to say something?
Yes, Pastor Eric. I will come in. The problem, actually, let me put a name to it. Simon Sinek calls it instant gratification. We want things and we want them now. So everything now almost has an app. If I want food, if I want what, I would instantly get that and satisfy myself. So there are only 2 things, 2 that there's no app for. That is true love and job fulfillment. You're not getting an app of that. True love is a process. There are 2 things that there is no app for.
Somebody cross-check your phone and see if those apps are not there. Yeah.
Not love. I'm saying true love and what they call job fulfillment. And those are our biggest struggles. Because true love is a process. I meet, Coach Tim meets Hilda, and they will tell you their story, and it's a process. For us to celebrate them, for us to celebrate you and Coach Fifi, it was a process, right? Job fulfillment. That's why our generation, we are jumping from job to job, because we do not know how to be patient, work through the ladder. So our biggest problem is instant gratification. Even in our social medias, if I see a TikTok video, I want to go fast at the end of it. That is the generation that we are in. So we need to understand the problem of instant gratification, and as a generation we will know that we'll struggle with true love and job satisfaction.
Wow. True love, job satisfaction. Coach Moshe Haruna, you normally say, and I will quote verbatim, abasajja beebuzaabuza nti balina bye bakola naye obabuuza bakulage tebalina kye bakulaga. Coach Tim has said that they want us to copy from them. You're a man who has gone through the accelerated mentorship program. And then Coach Tim in our men's group has told us that we need to be mentored. How does that help with unrestricting us as men? Speak about mentorship as something that could help people who are suffering in times of true love and job satisfaction. How will that help us?
Well, thank you so much. Number one, the biggest challenge with men is we are so busy. You get? We are so busy. That's why you're seeing this number is still small. They are busy outside there, right? But when you ask them at the end of that day, there is nothing. You get? So, there is one thing that I want us to take today is the word win. You get? Some of us, we are so busy doing nothing. But the word win means what's important now. You get? So whatever you're doing, ask yourself, is what I'm doing, is it important right now? You get? Like, for example, those who have been to the accelerated mentorship, you're supposed to shoot videos, you're supposed to do so many things, to talk to people, to come out there. You get? But then, you're like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Before you know it, the day has ended. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you say, these things don't work. You get? And then you see so many people like the likes of Coach Fifi, they're earning out of the what? The accelerated mentorship. Because those are all the products of the mentorship. You get? So, as the men, we are so busy. You get? And we cannot deny that. You are supposed to be busy, right? But then, always ask yourself, I'm busy doing what? Are together? So we need, as the men, we need the accelerated mentorship. For example, like today, those who have been graduated, it's only one man, right? Two. Okay. The rest are what? On my cohort, I was only one. You get? It's just because we are so busy doing nothing. And I would want us to, and that thing is limiting us. You get? It's restricting us from pursuing whatever we are supposed to be doing because you have a lot of greatness within you. You get? But you're doing so many things. You're everywhere. You're here, you're here, you're here. But at the end of the day, you're like, I don't have money. You get? Yet, you're supposed to take a process to do things that you're supposed to be doing to get what you want.
Okay, thank you. And I'll pose the same question to Derek quickly before I come to Oscar. Men and mentorship. We are people who rarely want to learn from others. When they call us, we are like, as you said, busy, doing nothing. So how can a man help himself be unrestricted through mentorship? I mean, through the experiences we've had with men like Coach Tim, Uncle Sam, Dennis, to speak to a man there, how does mentorship help a man become unrestricted?
Thanks so much. So I'll borrow from Robert Greene's book, Mastery. So Malcolm Gladwell writes a very good book, Outliers, yeah? So where he details the 10,000-hour rule. But Robert Greene says in his book, Mastery, if you asked Picasso who he would have been, he would have said, I didn't know what I would have been, but I deliberately sought out what I wanted. Because he's known to be the greatest sculpture maker and stuff, architect. He has so many things, sculptures, yes, he has so many things he did. But the thing that makes him different was apprenticeship, which is what would be mentorship. Go to someone who is doing that thing that you passionately love to do and is doing it exceptionally well. Don't go for average people and players. I forget, I don't know how to pronounce the second name. It's called John Asher something. In his book, The Insights, he says, there are two things that differentiate most people, which makes us restricted and scared. One, we don't know ourselves, which he calls the AIA, awareness, intention, and action. Seldom do we take time off to say, but who is Derek Mugabe? What does Derek Mugabe want to be? What defines Derek Mugabe? Not until you ask yourself those they seem elementary, but those things ground you. So when you are grounded, then you know what you need to get you to your place of action. So that's where the mentorship now comes in place. Not until you know where you're going. I forget in which book actually I was reading that from, Brian Tracy. He says the difference between achievement is intentionality, the discipline of you saying, now I have achieved this goal of being a great father. You can't do it all by yourself. Our equip leader says the law of the lead. Yeah. You can't be something that you're inside of. You need to first open it, then get out of it, and then know what you're doing. So for us as men and every person here who has graduated, it's very important that you take time off, ask yourself who you're doing, how you're doing. It doesn't hurt looking in the mirror and say, I think it's Fifi who says the law of the mirror. Yeah, I was listening to radio and the 15 valuable laws of growth, and she was speaking law of the mirror. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? If you see you're accomplished, please don't look for mentorship. But if you see that when I look in the mirror, I see so many things that I have to look for apprenticeship and mentorship in the areas I'm doing fundamentally wrong. Because there are people on this face or the other that are doing it exceptionally well. So those are the guys you should be looking out for, and that's the role of mentorship. That's how I would view it.
All right. Thank you. And when I hear you speak, I want to emphasize that we have men in our midst in the Inspire Men initiative that provides such an example. Men who have succeeded in areas where we have struggled, and we are learning from them. They are showing us the way. One person said, do not invent the wheel, because it was already there. I mean, if you want to go to Ginger, why should you create your own path when there is already a road? So I like when you say we learn from them.
Maybe just to lean in one line,
Yes.
When you went to Tim's place, when he said, my humble home, I remember as I was living with Haruna, we asked ourselves the same question. So he said, if he says humble home, and where I am, sometimes I just thump. So it's a definition of now, if he calls it humble, and he says there is something much bigger he's striving for. So for me, if I can only get to where he is as my
to the
mentor,
humble home.
to the humble home, I would say I have made it. Then when he gets to the place he's going to, you're like, hey, now that is what they say making it. So for me, that's the mirror I pick out from what we call mentorship. From where I am, I think he's doing exceptionally well. Not that I think, but from what he says, I feel he's doing exceptionally well. But where he is saying, Nina chembala, usingamba twala yo chiba chanjawulo. Now for me, I'm saying, as an apprentice to him, let me just get to his humble. If I take my grandchildren to his humble, I'll tell my kids,
we have made it.
yeah, Kusemera, William, wherever you are, we have reached.
Wonderful. And I think it's a point of reflection. Men, sometimes we are deceived by personal achievements, and we feel like we are the heroes of our worlds. And that is only because we are not exposed to people who have done better. And sometimes you can be restricted because of just exposure. Keita once told us, mutambuleko, mugende mulabeko kubalala byebakoze. And I want to tell you that exposure can help you be an unrestricted. And that is why you need to connect with other men in spaces who have done much more than you have done. It is one way of unrestricting yourself as a man. Coach Oscar, when we started this year as men, one of the things we struggled in, and as we are coming to the conclusion, one of the things we struggled with as men is asset building. And as Derek had said, that a couple of us in our young ages, we had planned for many years to have assets, specifically land. And we are like, this year, ngenda chikuba. When the year is starting, the hype is high. As the year goes down the road, you're like, atandika neika noga mukama mpayo chukumi kuchukumi. In November, you're like, atano kwata ne mala nenji kwatako. And as the year closes, then you hear, no nyaya satu kwa abiri. So we struggled with those. And when you look at our bank accounts, like, we set goals and we don't achieve them. We set goals and we don't achieve them. Now, I understand we have a program in the men's space, Inspire Men's Initiative, that is helping us with that. And specifically, I want us to speak about the land thing. Just as an example of the many things we are doing, what is it that we are doing as men, and how is it helping us to unrestrict ourselves from this asset building place?
Of course, it's important as men that we have something and some money. That's very vital. Some money makes a man feel fulfilled. But before I go into that, 1 second, I don't want to leave here without saying this. We agreed when Tim and Hilda hosted us that there are two ways men think. Remember our ways? From the chest
up here
up
and
to
from
here.
down there.
Then from the...
Why don't you stand and show?
Please stand.
Haruna, this stand, I demonstrate. So, as men, we think in two ways. From here, you're seeing here, there's the heart and there's the what? The brain. Then, from here to the knees, there are two body parts there. The stomach and what we know. So, please sit. So, as a man, once you're seated in here, ask yourself, where do you think from? Bwoboroleza wano ne wano clear. Bwoboroleza mu lubuto neri, you are in trouble. And as ladies, as you deal with any other man, you need to know, where does this man arolezawa? Ako kayingide?
Did you say two body parts?
So, as men, right now, ask yourself actually, Sawazino, what am I thinking? If I'm seeing these beautiful ladies, what am I thinking? Am I thinking from down, or that I could do business with them, or I could? So, yes, back to the point. We as men wanted to get something for ourselves as a group, and we started with what we were saying. Tufuna abasajja, they get 50 by 100 tufunebu plots. Until we said we are unrestricted. And our project is called the 100 Acres Project.
1 billion.
As men, 100 men, we are going to get 100 acres. Each one is going to raise 10 million, which is 1 billion. We get our 100 acres and divide it among us. And it was a scary dream, but we are unrestricted. Can I see the men who are part of our project already? Please stand up, stand up.
Strictly men.
Strictly men. Yes. So those are the men. We currently have, we launched this dream came from Uncle Sam's place. Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam. So he hosted us at his home as men, and we discussed, we played until we said, what can we do? We can't just come, meet, talk, and go. We need to, and that's when we came up with that idea of the 100 acres. Then we said, of course, we want to incorporate everyone, and not everyone has that capacity, so we are going to give people time to raise the 10 million, and we gave ourselves 18 months from July up to December 1st next year. So we've started the project, and of course, the money, it's a question, is it safe? Mubuzoyo. Anything happens to the money, coach team has a name to lose, and the board, we have a board, we are the management running the project. So we already have 68 members as of today who are registered, and we're just looking for a few. So if you're there and you're interested in this, we don't just want to meet and talk and go. We just want something that will hold us together. Imagine 100 men and we have our 100 acres. Everyone will be interested in us. All those government opportunities, all those donors, so we want to shake the tables. So we have some papers about the project and we'll share them, so don't leave. That's one of our projects. We have many other projects. We are unrestricted. Thank you.
I would say that the money is very safe, and is not okay. Probably didn't mention, but the account is under Inspire Men Initiative.
Yes,
and that's where men send their money. And when you send your money, you're given a statement and a receipt. When you need a statement, they give you a statement to show how much you've been contributing. Because we thought that instead of you, because again it's a culture of saving. Some of you cannot save the money, but you can deposit it somewhere. So the account is there, and he can explain everything about all the process and all the plan. But what we know and what we're encouraging is as many men as possible to join and be part of this wonderful project. And at the end of the day, walk away with an acre of land. And how beautiful. For 10 million shillings is pocket change, really. 10 million shillings and you're working with an acre of land, that's a beautiful project. Titled land. So that's something that we want to give our lives to. One thing that someone said that really touched me, said a man has two wives. One is the real wife, Katinga Bahati Hilda, in Dalataka. So a man without land, and you know there is no more land in being manufactured, right? The only land that is there is the land that God said from the word go. So buy some land. Kampala is becoming too small. You don't want to wake up when it's too late. I still remember my father. He missed on buying a house in Wandegear. And I feel bad about that guy, by the way. Because he would have bought that house. Would have been billionaires. They told him, from your salary, just only save 10%. Deposit it on this house and own it. And he said, he spoke even in his language, and he said, as in kids will do their own things. Now, that is not a wise man. A wise man leaves an inheritance
for his children.
Leave an inheritance as a man for your children's children. Buy land.
Thank you, Coach Tim. Men, buy land. It's not an option. It is inevitable. So as we're leaving the stage, I think I'm going to ask 1 minute each, parting shots. But before I do that, okay, I'll start with Derek. Your parting shots to the man out there. Just speak to them. 1 minute. How does he get unrestricted?
And to borrow Director Grace's move, where's the camera? Normally say, there's the camera. So, to the men, first and foremost, you're a hero first to yourself. And second, you're the hero to the people around you. Very interesting statistics about men. So once a man dies, check it out. Families that don't have male figures in those families, there is a lot of grief, and fights. It shouldn't be your family as any man present. So for me, I would encourage all men, get around men's spaces that are intentional. You've just heard what he said. It's not about being around men. There are men everywhere. We should be very clear. There are men everywhere. But men of purpose and intention are very few. Be intentional about them. So to every man in the room, I would want to encourage you, come join us. We are, as of Erica said, we're 74. The law of hundreds, we need to get to a project of buying land. We're at 68, 32 to go. So you might be the last person we actually need on this. So let's have all the men in, Be the man you wish you had in your life.
Thank you, Derek. My parting shot is, how do we get unrestricted? Of course, it's fear. Fear is the biggest killer of all dreams. People say, let's start a business. It's risky. What else can I tell you? It's all risky. Starting a business is risky. Not starting a business is risky. Marrying is
Very
risky.
risky.
Staying single,
Too risky.
and as Jim Rohn says, at the end of the day, we are not all going to live here alive, so it's all risky. So let's unrestrict ourselves and take risks and do all our we can.
Thank you, Oscar. My word to the men out there, they're basically something that we need to have as men. Number one is the land title. If you don't have a land title as a man, you're missing something. Number two, you need to have a passport, which I'm happy Eric got. Then,
Yes.
number three, driving permit. And number four, national ID. So as the men, think about all that. Thank you so much.
Wow. Coach Tim, I'll ask you to give the last parting shots. Before you give those shots, I want to, and you will say something about this, because commonly you tell us that as men, you cannot grow in isolation. And there could be men out there who are thinking, well, I have my group, or I'm making it on my own. So what message as Inspire Men's Initiative do we leave to the men out there?
To the men out there, every man is a door, and that means you give access and deny access. There is someone looking up to you. Someone believes in you. Someone thinks you are their hero. And that person has never said it to you. They are just about to drown because you don't even know who you are. And you don't care. It's high time that you wake up and realize the fact that there's a generation behind you. You are a door. You're either restricting access or giving access. Give another man who looks up to you an opportunity to become something in this world. If there is any form of unrestriction, just discover you, and become you, and do you. Because the world out there loves you just the way you are. And as men, we believe in you just the way you are. Give us an opportunity to be with you in the same space, work together, hold each other's hand, and grow together.
Thank you, Coach Tim. As we conclude, we believe this year and years going forward, our hashtag is Leave No Man Behind. Dear women, you have men either running after you or staying with you. Send them to us. They will come the way they are. We shall return them better than they came.
Yes. Send your ex.
X's, Y's, Z's, all of them. Send them. We shall make substance out of them. We are Inspire Men's Initiative, and we believe that every man can live for another man. Thank you, and we wish you an unrestricted life.
Bless you.